Campos. Good morning, Los Angelinos. Welcome to the Board of Public Works and weekly meeting for Friday, June 11th. Executive Officer Dr. Fernando Campos, could you please establish quorum?
Absolutely, Dr. Davis. Thank you, Fernando Campos, Executive Officer, establishing roll call and quorum for today. It's 10:11 a.m. for Friday, June 11, 2021. We have President Pro Tem, our chairman for today, Dr. Davis, present. We have Commissioner Caloza and Commissioner Villegas. Dr. Davis, we do have a quorum at this time. Currently, we do have 2 callers on the line under general public comments. We also have 1 caller on the line for items 1 through 8, and we have a second caller on the line for item number 6. And I will let you know once we get to those items. So again, we do have a caller for all items for today's agenda, and we have a secondary caller for item number 6.
And would we like to take the callers who are calling in from the public first before I process the items, or?
Yes, that would be a preference. Ultimately, it's your choice as chairman, but yes, typically once you read the item into the agenda, then we can open it up for those commentaries first, and then we can take staff report.
Okay, so why don't I then first ask the board members, is there any feedback, comments, or objections to the items of action of 1, transferring the item to another meeting, as well as the withdrawal of item 3. Any objections?
Dr. Davis, my apologies for interruption. Fernando Campos, Executive Officer, and thank you for raising that. There has been a request from the Bureau of Engineering to continue item number 1 to Wednesday, June 16, 2021, and there's also been a request from the same Bureau of Engineering to withdraw item number 3. I believe that was your question to the other commissioners, if there was any objections to continue item 1 and to withdraw item 3.
That is correct. Hearing and seeing no objections from the members, now we will proceed. You mentioned that there were requests for public comment.
That is correct. That is correct, Mr. Chairman. We have 2 members from the general public that are here for general public comment. We do not have any commentary under the Neighborhood Council comment section.
Gotcha. So with that, I would like to ask if I can have a motion to accept the minutes from the meeting Friday, May 21st. Approval of the minutes. Can I have a motion from one of our members of the board?
So moved.
Okay. And I think that motion is moved by Commissioner Jessica Caloza and seconded by Commissioner Villegas.
Yes.
Any opposition or discussion on the motion on the floor? Hearing and seeing none, now we will move to item number 2, notwithstanding that item 1 has been moved to another meeting.
Mr. Chairman, Fernando Campos, Executive Officer, would you like to take public comments now, or would you like to consider item 2 first and then come back to public comments?
Well, why don't we go ahead and do public comments first?
Absolutely. Thank you, Mr. Chair. We, members of the general public, the Board of Public Works is now considering general public comments for today's agenda for Friday, June 11th. We do have 2 callers on the line. The first caller is caller ending in 024, caller ending in 024, Mr. Puppet. If you can please press *6 at this time to unmute your microphone. You will be given 2 minutes to speak under general public comment. Please go ahead.
Good morning, my niggers. I want to remind you that tiny homes are not acceptable. We need housing. We need departments of building and safety, not under Deputy ex-Mayor Richards, Raymond Chan, corruption, litigator of Jose Weezer, corruption for developers and development in your fucked up dirty city, because yesterday Ridley Chongo Thomas had people complaining about niggers' chants, and the niggers want our chants to stay as they are until you can build fucking niggers' homes and get us off the fucking streets. Years of persecution, años de tiempo, pinche putos. ¿Por qué? ¿Por qué dejamos en las calles muriendo de hambre y frío? Vinci ways. Let me translate. Fuck you, 42 U.S.C. 1983. You criminals of corruption, bribery, extortion. I want to go out on memory of Mr. Englander, who now serves in jail in Arizona. Fuck you, Englander, and your public safety, you rotten son of a bitch. I hope you rot in hell for lying to the FBI and ratting out all your friends, you fucking big-eared little rat-run piece of shit. Juju. So going back to tiny houses, they're unacceptable. I am not a victim of this type of behavior. You need to build me a 4-bedroom room house for myself, my service animals, my puppets, and my homeless friends that don't have a room to sleep in, you son of a bitches. So fuck you, building and safety motherfuckers, you fucking racketeering shit. What?
2 minutes. Thank you. We'll move on to the next caller. Caller ending in 682. Caller ending in 682. If you can please press *6 at this time to unmute your microphone. You will have 2 minutes to speak under general public comment. Please go ahead.
Good morning. I'm Dr. Tom Williams, LA 32 Neighborhood Council and long-term resident in El Sereno. Basic problem. We have a lot of problems arising from BMC change order work on the median of Huntington Drive. There's been quite a few videos done, both on Facebook and next door, regarding a confrontation that occurred where public actually touched operating equipment of the contractor. I was in environmental health and safety for 5 years on the downtown LA Metro Rail Red Line Phase 1, and that is not allowed. However, the change order, as I can find, says that there is no fencing included in the change order. So there's a question as to, are they being paid to put in fencing? What is the actual contract and who has it? And so I have also submitted by way of the Google form a request for public records regarding the project. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Williams, for that public comment. Mr. Chair, that clears out the queue for general public comment. At this time, we will go ahead and close that segment out.
Thank you, Dr. Campos. Bureau of Street Services presents item 2, contract extension, monthly renewal option, personal services contract, All-American Asphalt, production and delivery of recycled asphalt concrete. 1, recommend and forward to the City Council a month-to-month extension of existing contract with All-American Asphalt for the production and delivery of recycled asphalt from reclaimed asphalt pavement. C127608 WOM0010011. And that is Melinda Chow presenting.
Mr. Chairman, would you like to take public comments on this item first or presenters first? I believe.
Well, I guess customarily we do items of public comment first, and so we will have that done first. Public comment.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Caller ending in 024, caller ending in 024. If you can please press *6 at this time. The board is now considering item number 2. You will have 2 minutes to speak on this item. Please go ahead.
Thank you, my niggers. You know, All-American was asphalting the 60 freeway for months and created traffic jams. Such stupid niggers. With heavy equipment like that, you cannot do your job expediently. Look what the fucking Armenians did in the East Coast. With the Egyptians, they built the Taj Mahals and grander buildings without the American asphalt. They used pavers of mud, straw and shit like you assholes. Oh, let me say on topic. Yes, all American must use grade A and nothing less when laying asphalt. 2, your slurry seal should not go over the gutters, you stupid fucks. And when you break the gutters and cause damage, you need to replace and repair immediately. And don't forget to provide ADA access on the standards of the 2010, you stupid fucks, because we need ramps and curb cuts. And if you don't understand this message, speak to the dumb niggers from the ADA compliance of the city of Los Angeles, who continue not to repair, replace, or fix our sidewalk and streets, but put that bullshit asphalt and slurry seal so we can slip and fall, you fucking assholes. In addition to most of you who do not know American asphalt, they also do repairs up in the cities of the unincorporated area of Jonas Hahn. If you don't believe me, please call Jonas Hahn, ask him about All American and the red, white, and blue fucking logo. Fuck America.
Mr. Chairman, that is the last caller for item number 2.
Item number 2, we have Melinda Chow presenting.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
So this contract is for it's on an as-needed basis for production and delivery of reclaimed asphalt pavement for Streets LA using recycled asphalt pavement. And this contract primarily serves Zone 1 maintenance districts, which is in the metro area, and is to provide sufficient supply of asphalt for our street paving operations. Streets LA currently actually has 2 contracts, which is with All American Asphalt and Vulcan. Vulcan chose not to extend, so this board report is only asking for extension of the AAA contract or All American Asphalt. The contract is to supplement the city's production, and ideally, they are only called upon when the city's asphalt plant does not have enough supply for our paving operations. The contract is a 5-year contract that expired June 10th, 2021. We have spent about $18 million to date. We will be releasing a request for proposal to rebid the contract. However, that will require time, and as the contract has already expired on June 10th, we are asking for a month-to-month extension of the All-American Asphalt contract. This was also presented to the City Council on June 8th. The City Council has already approved forthwith the extension. We actually submitted these items concurrently to Council as well as to the Public Works Board for consideration, but it just so happens that they were agendized at different dates. And that concludes my presentation. I'm open for any questions.
Sure. I wanted to start out, Mrs. Chow. Thank you so much for your report. You mentioned in your report that there was a agency that was not able to expend its allocated funds. What impact did that have on our overall review of work that we're doing in this area?
Well, as I mentioned, these contracts are only on an as-needed basis. If the city has an asphalt plant called Asphalt Plant 1 in the metro area, so we are only calling upon the contractors on an as-needed basis if the city does not have enough adequate supply.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions from members? Commissioner Kalokasa?
Thank you, Dr. Davis. Nice to see you in the chairman role today, and thank you for leading the way. Thank you for your presentation, Ms. Chow. I had a few questions for you. Can you kind of give us a timeline of when you expect to complete this RFP and how long you expect for this month-to-month basis to go on for?
The council motion that was approved earlier this week, we have asked for a 9-month extension.
And how much is that gonna cost in terms of the month-to-month expense for this additional 9 months?
It really depends because this is on an as-needed basis. In the past, we've spent approximately $4 million a year from them, but in the past year, it has been a lower amount only because of the pandemic, as well as with the pandemic, the city has kind of reduced resurfacing and paving operations a tad bit.
And then the 18 million that you mentioned, was that is it 18 million budgeted, or was that 18 million is what we spend as a city to use on an as-needed basis?
18 million is the actual expenditures in the past 5 years for All American Asphalt.
Okay, and just for my background, did we end up using this more or less than what we thought we would? Since it's hard to gauge given the as-needed basis.
It's actually been less. As I mentioned, we do have asphalt plant in the metro area, and the plant was under renovation and has reopened in, I'm trying to think what was the year that it reopened, about 2 or 3 years ago that it finished renovations. So obviously in the past 2 years or so, the demand has decreased for the contractor services.
Okay. And so with your 9-month extension, it looks like you're going to come back to the board like around March 2022?
Around that time, yes, we will be asking for authority to release an RFP and then a separate report to actually award the contract.
Okay. I see. And I appreciate you obviously. I know this is not ideal, but this contract technically expired yesterday, right?
Yes.
Okay. You got it by 1 day.
Yes, but we did get council approval on June 8th already.
I understand that. I know typically we don't, want to follow the order, right? That
Yes,
typically
yes.
comes before the board first and then council. Is there a reason why that wasn't followed this time?
Primarily just the short staffing, with the SIP and all the hiring freeze. We were just short on staffing to work on all the different contracts and requests for proposals that need to take place.
Okay.
But we will have in place that to make sure that this does not happen in the future. I mean, ideally, we should be extending it or releasing an RFP prior to the contract expiration. Yes.
Thank you, Ms. Chu. And a last question for me, I guess the process question is, since this is extending beyond 5 years, I understand you already went to council. Does this at all need to come back like as an administrative item to the mayor? I don't know if that's, you can answer that, Mr. Jordan.
Well, if they've already had the council approval, we could check. Typically, it passes through the mayor's office and gets their approval, before it gets transmitted to the city council. So we'll follow up. Putting the items back on the agenda for an administrative item, that's really not a legal requirement. That's just the process the board uses, and I think we have one on our agenda today, in fact. As an administrative item, after it's been approved by the council or mayor, when they're going through in their ordinary, timeline, there's no action actually that the board takes. We just sort of receive it. But we'll make sure that it has the necessary approvals prior to actually signing it. It's a good question. I just, off the top of my head, I can't really tell from the record here.
Thank you, Mr. Jordan. Thank you, Ms. Chu, for your report and for answering our questions.
Thank you, Commissioner Caloza. Commissioner Villegas.
Thank you, and thank you, Ms. Chow, for your report. I echo Commissioner Caloza's comments. Pro Tem Dr. Davis, seeing you run the meeting, I like it.
Okay.
Thanks, Ms. Chow, for your report. Very comprehensive, and I appreciate Commissioner Caloza's line of questions as well. And just so everybody knows, our asphalt plant number 1, it's in the, as Ms. Chow was indicating, it's in the metro area, and I just know it went through a lot extensive renovations, and it's really one of the state of the art, like in low emissions. And the mayor was just able to tour it, I want to say maybe like a month ago, which is really, really nice. It's one of those asphalt plants that's going to be taking asphalt and combining some, plastic. And so we'll be able to new new areas or new pilots of asphalt throughout Los Angeles, and perhaps
Make sure that we are muting everyone who is not talking from the control. Thank you so much.
Mr. Chair,
it
my
looks like
apologies.
there's 2 callers also, 006 and then call user 1. They could be the same person, but I saw both just light up. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
Mr. Spindler, you need to keep your phone muted at all times when it's not your turn to speak.
And just have decorum. It's not professional. All right. Anyways, I appreciate it. I don't have any questions. I understand just the report, and I just appreciated Commissioner Caloza's questions just to give it a little bit more framework and clarity. Thank you.
Great. So if there are no other questions or inquiries, may I have a motion to accept? May I have a second to my motion to pass this item 2?
I'll second.
Thank you. We've had a second by Commissioner Villegas. Any unreadiness on the motion on the floor? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor, Commissioner Caloza will ask for a roll call vote. Commissioner Caloza?
Yay.
Okay, Commissioner Villegas? Commissioner Villegas?
I think she froze, Dr. Davis.
We'll wait a minute patiently.
She may be frozen. However, we do have her on record as moving
Yes.
item as seconder. I'm sorry, you moved it, Dr. Davis, and seconded
Yes.
by Commissioner Villegas. So
Right.
we have that on record, and we have Commissioner Caloza affirmative yay vote on this item.
Okay, I guess I want to make sure that she is active with us. I guess.
He's he's
So,
logging back in.
so technically, Dr. Campos, I appreciate you pointing out the moving versus voting. They're different. So
Sure, and
right now you have 3 votes plus
sure.
1 vote that hasn't.
Okay, she's
and it looks
back
like
in.
Commissioner's back.
Commissioner Villegas, confirm your vote on item 2.
Yes, it's confirmed. My apologies. My computer just.
Not a problem. So that motion passes. Is that a forthwith, Dr. Campos? Is there a need for a forthwith on this item?
Should your board wish to move this item forthwith, yes, we can move that forthwith.
Okay, and that will be that item 2 is passed forthwith. Thank you so much. And with that, we will move to, given that 3 has been withdrawn, we will now move to item 4. AFE Coalition for Humane Immigrants' Rights. Bureau of Street Services and Office of Accounting are requesting board approval and execution of an authority for expenditure in the amount of $20,000, new adjusted amount of $53,000 to increase funds for fiscal year 2020-2021 to pay for outreach to raise awareness and understanding among permitted sidewalk and park vendors of the availability of COVID vaccinations by providing them with information on the opportunity and location for them to receive their vaccination due to public safety, public health, and/or welfare concerns, and the process of obtaining a vaccination. Authorize the president or two members of the Board of Public Works to execute the contract after approval as to form has been obtained by the city attorney. AE 21000037M, Fund 100, General Fund, Department Number 86, Appropriation Unit 003040. And presenting from the Bureau is Richard Shahiran and Syria Gandhi. Hope I pronounced that correctly.
Dr. Davis, we also have a member from the general public that would like to speak on item number 4. Would you like to consider those items?
Absolutely. General public can speak at this time on item.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And we also have 2 new callers that just joined us that have raised their hand. I will identify who they are shortly, just in case they want to speak on item number 4.
Okay.
We'll go ahead and go with the first caller that we know is on the line for item number 4, and that is caller ending in 024. Caller ending in 024. If you can please unmute your microphone by pressing *6 at this time. You have 2 minutes.
I am back, you nigger. Hey, who's that? It sounds like a goat. Thank you. Am I on, Mr.
Yeah, please go ahead. Please go ahead. It looks like you're on 2 lines. Go ahead.
No, I'm talking about immigrant rights and vendors that sell shit on the sidewalk and restrict my access, you fucking hoodlums. You pay to play, jackasses. Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act mandates all programs receiving state and federal financial assistance to stop the fucking activities and programs when you delay my access to get to the city hall and any other public facility by accommodations, you fucking white nigger Uncle Toms. Financial assistance you can get by simply asking for immigrant rights to Mr. Dhaka Sibil. But he's so fucking stupid, he continues not to help people get their immigration rights instead is to be vendors. And I understand there's a due process, however, the executive agency of the city should have responsibility to provide equal access to people like myself, a fucking puppet and a fucking disabled puppet, along with my fucking service animal, for example, so use the sidewalk and streets without any restrictions and provide me the most appropriate safety and access available in the United States of America.
Okay,
this
please
is not
wrap
a
up your
federal
time.
country.
Is that right? Oh, okay.
Thank
Go
you.
ahead and continue, sir.
That's 2 minutes, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you. Next citizen.
Sure. We just don't know if they're on item 4, but I will go ahead and identify our caller in 006.
Where's mine?
Caller ending in 006. Would you like to speak on item number 4?
Okay, would you like to speak on item 4?
I think
Mr. Spindler, you can only speak once on the item. You can't use more than one phone to try to get past that rule. Dr. Campos, Mr. Spindler's already spoken on this item.
Yeah, go to the.
Oh, you sure about that? I wouldn't
next.
be too goddamn fucking sure about
Just
that.
mute that line and let's move forward to the next resident, please. Thank you, Dr. Campos.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I will move on to the next caller. Caller ending in call-in user_1. Call-in user score.
Where's my fucking time?
Mr. Spindler, you can only speak
I'm
once.
not Spindler, also Truman.
Mr. Herman and Mr.
This
Spindler.
is me, motherfucker. I'm not him.
Mr. Spindler and Mr. Herman, while we have these Zoom meetings and you're calling in, it would help facilitate the public comment process if you didn't try to deliberately disguise your voices. We're happy to hear your comment, but you need to work with us using the technology that we have. Mr. Herman, if you're calling using phone number ending in 024, then you can speak on items yourself. Mr. Spindler, if you're calling from phone
So do I get my
006,
time?
then you can speak on the items. But it would really greatly assist the board here if you didn't try to disguise your voices to make it harder for us to tell who you are.
Is Mr. Herman available? Is that Mr. Herman that we hear?
So
If
Dr.
not-
Campos, was the first speaker calling from 024 or 006?
The first speaker was calling from 024.
I'm here from Zoom.
Mr.
Okay, so it appears that that caller is Mr. Herman, and it appears that Mr. Spindler is calling from 006. So I think we should go ahead and address them by their name when we call them, and ensure that each one speaks, and each one speaks only once.
Okay. So next we have Mr. Herman. Is that correct, City Attorney?
No, it sounds like Mr. Herman spoke already, and now we have Mr. Spindler.
Oh, okay.
Is that what
Resident,
it seems to
please.
you, Dr. Campos?
That is correct. That is my assessment. 006 is Mr. Spindler, and if he wants to speak on the item,
What the hell did you?
allowed to have him speak on this item. 024 is Mr. Puppet, as identified in earlier in the meeting, but it appears to be Mr. Herman as well. So, Mr. Chair, if you'd like, I can go ahead and reopen the line for 006 on item 4.
Okay, if there is another resident that would like to speak, if he has not spoken, then they should speak. If they have spoken, then they should relinquish their time to the next resident in line. I understand.
And goddamn somebody.
Okay, caller ending in 006, this is your last and final warning. We are trying to identify who you are and when you would be able to speak. Please unmute your microphone when asked to do so. If you continue to unmute your microphone in the middle of this meeting, it will be considered disruptive, and the chairman will have the option to remove you from the line. Mr. Chairman, again, I apologize for that. Would you like to take the caller ending in 006, which has not yet spoken?
Absolutely.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Caller ending in 006, if you can please unmute your microphone by pressing *6. You will have 2 minutes to speak on item number 4. Go ahead, Mr. Spindler.
Yo, stop getting me in trouble, man. I'm sorry. All right, now get the fuck on there and speak and stop getting me in trouble, man. Ow! All right. Yes, very, very sorry. I'm just an animal, and I'm working with humans. Now, let's talk about, if a point of order, Zoom's terms and conditions. Under the California Privacy Act, the city attorney is misusing people's information in an attempt to breach their anonymity to cause them harm, emotionally and reputationally as we speak. Because of the FBI probe, and because people are being followed and terrorized and threatened, people wish to remain anonymous at these goddamn fucking meetings. But you goddamn fucking Jews and you goddamn fucking niggers will not allow that. Because you want to steal. And today is all about stealing, isn't it? Now that point I'll agree with. Yes, that's right. So again, you're going to shell out the Benjamins. You're going y'all. So that black men cannot get these jobs, you're going to import the cheap labor. So that you goddamn sell it out. The best part, according to Kwame Brown, K-A-W-B-E, Kwame Brown, mother's cooking is the reason that you have to use black men to sell out black people is because of terms and conditions. And that's why the city attorney breaches anonymity. He doesn't want people to hear the truth. That people like Davis have been working for Jews and whites for years and decades to cause his people to get things like corona shots. What?
Mr. Chair, that has been 2 minutes.
Okay, the next resident, please, Dr. Campos.
Mr. Chair, all residents that are on the line from the general public have been allowed to speak on item number 4 that have expressed to speak on item number 4.
Thank you for that. And next we'll have a presentation by Richard Servin and Sierra Gandhi on item number 4.
Thank you, Dr. Davis. Good morning, Commissioners, Mr. City Attorney, Bureau Representatives, and Dr. Campos. Richard Shervani here, Management Analyst with Streets LA Investigation Enforcement Division, here again to initiate the toss before you. As COVID vaccinations continue to become more readily available and accessible, in addition to the economy picking back up, along with tourism and more people being outdoors, we'd like to make every effort to assist our sidewalk vendors as well as the public in staying safe. The toss before you will allow the Coalition for Humane Immigrant Rights, also known as SHIRLA, who we are currently working with and has experience on such a similar project, to reach out to our permitted vendors and notify them of dates where they will have the opportunity to get their COVID vaccination, and while doing so to receive PPP equipment and be able to have any of their questions related to the Sidewalk and Park Vending Program answered. SHIRLA will dedicate phone banking time to reach our over 1,600 permitted vendors. They will also provide on-the-ground vaccine, street outreach, and education in the locations of MacArthur Park, Echo Park, Pico Union, and Boyle Heights, as well as virtual education that allows them to reach between 3,000 to 15,000 viewers per week. We believe this additional effort in public safety will aid in the city's process of reopening while keeping public health a top priority. With that said, we'd like to request the approval for toss number 4 to the Coalition for Humane Immigrant Rights in the amount of $20,000, increasing their current AFE amount to $53,000 in total. And that concludes our presentation, and I thank you for your time.
Thank you so much. So I don't have to call on Ms. Gandhi, is that correct?
Yeah, it's just me presenting today.
Okay, wonderful. First, I want to thank you administratively for this effort and the innovation that it reflects in terms of really going out to make sure that we cover all of the various constituents that could very well have been overlooked. And so this kind of innovation in the work that we do is critically important if we are to reach the goal, not only in California, but in this country, so that we can return back to work and all of those other individuals can run back to normalcy. And so this effort that you have demonstrated here today is the kind of thinking that we need all of our workers in the city of Los Angeles need them doing. With that, I want to reach out to the other commissioners for any remarks or inquiry that they may have. I will go to Commissioner Villegas first and then Colosa next.
Thank you. I appreciate your report, Mr. Shervani. I know you've been working on this for some time. And thanks for working with so many different groups. I know you've been putting this request out, and these are the groups that have actually responded to us. So I appreciate that. I know that reaching out to all of our vendors is an arduous process. I don't have any questions per se, but actually I do. I have one question. I realize that this particular toss is for specific area. Are we going to have other tosses before us that represent just other communities and other demographics?
Currently, this is the one that we're issuing before the end of the fiscal year. We're in discussions to issue another one after this fiscal year that will focus on different areas of the city. So for now, this is what we were able to get in the rush that we're in. So.
Okay, understood. Thank you so much. I don't have any further questions.
Next, we have Commissioner Colosa.
Thank you, President Pro Tem Davis. And thank you, Mr. Shervani, for the briefing recently as well that I had requested on this, and appreciate the amount of work that you and Streets LA team, and of course actually Commissioner Villegas has been putting into street vending. I just had a follow-up question on this. I know that we originally had the amount for 20,000, or we're increasing the amount by 20,000. Is that because the initial source, the initial funding that we gave, was it not enough, or did you all identify a greater need to pour to add more resources to the specific part of the street vending campaign? And I ask that because I know that we have multiple vaccination outreach efforts at the city.
Thank you for your question, Commissioner. So the initial funding of the $33,000 was for the previous toss, which was toss number 3 for outreach and education. This additional 20, and that was focused on the Sidewalk and Park vending program itself, in regards to the rules and regulations, the requirements to be permitted, and so forth. This toss number 4 is solely focused on vaccine outreach, and we understand that safety is of a #1 concern with the economy opening back up and everything sort of returning back to normalcy and more people are outdoors. And we wanted to get this funding specifically for this to be done to educate the vendors on vaccination availability. And in doing so, they would also receive PPP equipment to assist in that sort of public health and welfare that comes along with, providing these services to the public.
Got it. Okay. That explains it a little bit more. I appreciate your work on this and Streets LA, thinking about the overall public health of everybody, especially the street vendors themselves. You know that they can be some of the most vulnerable people, and that. But at the same time, we know that it's actually a good thing, right? That they're probably operating outdoors, and that provides a safer environment. But PPE can be costly, and so. And we also want to make sure that they get vaccinations. So I appreciate Streets LA's work on this. I don't have any further questions. President Pro Tem Davis.
Thank you so much. May I receive a second to my motion to accept item number 4?
Second that.
Thank you so much. Any unreadiness on the motion? Hearing and seeing none, we'll have a roll call vote. Commissioner Colosa?
Yay.
Commissioner Villegas?
Yes.
Okay. So that motion passes forthwith. Next, we will have item number 5. AFE Angelica Ukijo, doing business as the Imogen Group. Bureau of Street Services and Office of Accounting are requesting board approval and execution of an authority for expenditure in the amount of $66,000. New adjusted amount of $118,164.20 to encumber funds for fiscal year 2020-2021 to pay for the promotional and educational materials of literature, as well as hosting and participating in various events throughout the city to raise awareness and understanding among contractors, businesses, and stakeholders of the city sidewalk and park vending program. Authorize the president or 2 members of the Board of Public Works to execute the contract after approval as to form has been obtained from the city attorney. AE 2100-0035P, Fund 100, General Fund, Department Number 86, Appropriation Unit 003040. And do we have any residents who want to speak on item 5, Dr. Campos?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yes, we do. We have 2 callers on the line for item number 5. We'll go ahead and start with the first caller ending in 024, caller ending in 024. If you can please press *6 to unmute your microphone. You'll be given...
Can you hear me, my morons?
Please go ahead. Thank you.
Thank you. Department 86, fuck him. Because programmatic access is an issue regarding your literature awareness for vending. Where do these niggers wash their hands? Where do they go take a shit and wipe their ass? And when they scratch their nuts, where do they wash their hands? Is the city going to provide other than 66,000 expenditure? Cleanly tools to clean your hands and to clean your fucking asshole? Some assholes need to understand that that's how you spread COVID. And when you misuse these expenditures without the appropriate literature to warn the public, it's offensive. You stupid programmatic access bastards need to get into the obligation of reasonably modifying the policy to protect the citizens Angelinos of the United States of America. Yeah. Equal opportunity, you stupid niggers of Los Angeles. It's a shame that you have an attorney there who continues to anonymity my reputation by announcing my name. You need to shut the fuck up and just repeat what you hear. It's regarding my public comment, my opinion. Because again, speech is all on a matter of public concern. And that's the reason why I called in today, because I have a public concern to address. No more vending on our sidewalk and streets. Equal access for me, for non-disabled people, and tear those shitty fucking things off.
2 minutes, thank you.
Mhm.
We'll go ahead and move on to the next caller. Caller ending in 006. Caller ending in 006. Can you please unmute your microphone by pressing *6? You will have 2 minutes to speak on item number 5. Please go ahead.
Yes. And again, I want to apologize to the other humans that were heard on the line. Again, I'm an animal,
Was that the
and
same?
I like the fact that you human animals are taking those shots. Yes, it's good. Because now you're just nothing but a bunch of fucking cows. Moo. As you stand in line and let them inject that poison into you. Experimental poison. Well, a lot of it spoils, such as today when thousands of doses were ordered destroyed again. Yes. So who's not taking the shot? Wealthy Jews. The Hebrew. They don't take it. And who do they want to take it? Blacks. Because they want to depopulate the black population. So they don't have to give them that reparation shit. As we come near June 19th, slavery hasn't ended. No. You're still trying to go around and play these games. What's in the vaccine? Blood clots. And who has the highest percentage of death due to blood clots? Black people. Because of co-conditions such as eating and drinking too much of the grape. They get the sugar. Yes. So Goat Puppet has been studying this for years. And Goat Puppet knows the less of you fucking humans there are, the less chances you will have to build your homes and invade my space, the forest, the trees, the open space. You're all no good. Animals hate you. Now, there's certain humans I like because they feed me and they provide me an area to have vegetation that I eat. And then I eat it and I shit it out.
2 minutes.
And then it naturally goes into the soil.
2 minutes.
And what do you...
Okay, 2 minutes. Thank you, sir.
Mr. Chair, that clears out the queue for public comments on item number 5. And
Okay.
Mr. Shervani will present on item 5 as well.
Thank you, Mr. Shervani.
Thank you, Commissioners and Dr. Campos. As you know, we've been working with the Imagen Group to provide outreach and technical assistance by educating potential sidewalk and park vending applicants on the permitting process and the rules and regulations, as well as assisting applicants through the application process in coordination with the Economic Workforce Development Department's Business Source Centers, in addition to hosting and co-hosting informational events, which most recently included safety webinars in collaboration with the Los Angeles Police Department on how vendors can protect themselves in light of the recent attacks on sidewalk vendors. Similar to our request on Wednesday, we'd like to use the funding provided to us to allow the Mountain Group to do additional work on the current TOS number 2 and TOS number 3 that have already been awarded to them before the end of the fiscal year, to provide current vendors and those interested in becoming vendors with information that will prepare them for compliance with the city's rules and regulations and the ever-changing guidance from various agencies as it relates to public health concerns and proper food hygiene practices as operations continue to grow toward normalcy. Therefore, we are requesting the approval of the award amount of TOS number 2 and TOS number 3 for the Mountain Group be increased from $20,000 to $33,000 per TOS, totaling $66,000. Thank you for your time and listening to our plans and recommendation, and appreciate your responsiveness.
All right, thank you, Mrs. Shervani. Members, Commissioner Caloza, any inquiry?
Thank you, President Pro Tem Davis. Thank you for your report, Mr. Shervani. I don't have any questions for this item, but I appreciate Streets LA continuing to invest in outreach to our street vendors. Since you mentioned, some of the work in trying to prevent attacks on street vendors, I did also just want to share the initiative that we launched with the mayor and city council recently called LA for All. So I'd love to share that with you and some of the contractors that you're working with for outreach, so that they can see what resources are available should they experience or see a hate crime that happens. So I can follow up with you on that item, and that could be something for your contractors to help disseminate to street vendors, and it's also translated in multiple languages.
Thank you, Commissioner Caloza. Commissioner Villegas.
Thank you, and thank you again, Mr. Shervani, for the report. And thank you so much, Commissioner Caloza, for that recommendation. That's excellent. It'll really complement the effort that Streets LA is doing. And I appreciate Streets LA bringing this forward to us. It's a local small business also who really knows the community and has been working with us really well just before the pandemic. And just really went into high gear during the pandemic. So I'm glad that this is before us today. I don't have any questions. Thank you.
Great. May I have a motion to accept this item?
I'll move it.
Okay, and I'll second her motion. With that, any unreadiness, Commissioner Caloza? Hearing and seeing none, we will have a roll call vote. Commissioner Villegas, obviously yes. She made the motion, and Commissioner Caloza?
Aye.
Aye. So that is a unanimous vote, and given the urgency of the work and task, we pass this motion forthwith.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you. With that, we have administrative item. The mayor has approved and authorized the Board of Public Works on behalf of the Bureau of Sanitation to execute the Memorandum of Understanding for the development of recycled water at Hyperion Water Reclamation Plant between the Bureau of Sanitation and the Los Angeles Department of Water and Power. May I receive a motion to accept this administrative item?
Mr. Chair, sorry to interrupt you, Fernando Campos, Executive Officer. Although this is an administrative item, had we not had any callers on the line, then your motion would have been entertained at that time. We do have 2 callers on the line for item number 6.
Okay.
If you can hear that.
By all means, let us move forward with
Hear
it.
that first, you can place the motion.
Dr. Campos, I believe Dr. Williams, who I think is caller number ending in 682, also had a
Yes.
I think we probably, if I'm not mistaken, I believe all 3 of our callers
Sure.
are wanting to make a
That is
comment.
correct, Mr. Jordan. That is correct.
Sure.
We'll go ahead and take Dr. Williams first. At this time, caller ending in 682, caller ending in 682, if you can please press star 6 to unmute your microphone. The board is now considering item number 6. If you can please press star 6 to unmute your microphone. You have 2 minutes to speak on this item.
Good morning. Hello?
Good morning. Please go ahead.
Okay. Dr. Tom Williams, LA 32 Neighborhood Council, but also a old sanitary engineer. I would highly recommend that all work with Hyperion should include direct potable reuse of sewage treated at Hyperion and the, I say, storage of such at night to be done through the, I say, indirect potable reuse of storing underground in the West LA area. Pumping highly treated sewage 20 miles away from Hyperion is just too costly, whereas you do have good groundwater storage capacities in the Hyperion West LA area. So I highly recommend that the Hyperion reuse project include direct potable reuse, because we did this 50 years ago, and Water Factory 21 in Orange County did it for almost 50 years also. So the technology is there to produce good quality water from Hyperion for the West LA area. Please include direct potable reuse and further considerations for Hyperion recycling. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Williams. We'll move on to the next caller, caller ending in 024, caller ending in 024. Please press *6 to unmute your microphone. You will have 2 minutes to speak on item number 6. Please go ahead.
Thank you, my niggers. You know, community members have been alienated by the shit of reuse, and Water and Power shits tried to put Mr. Wayne Spindler into trouble some years ago with their jackass Herb Wesson Jackass Jr. But let me stay on topic. Yes, when we reuse shit water, it can be recycled back into the earth to nurture the plants and trees of the native lands of us American Indians. Because again, it was those people, the Europeans, that came here with the diseases, like that stupid bitch, what's his name, O'Farrell, and he says he's Indian. No, he's no Indian. He's a fucking fool. You know, I read in my civil rights that God hates homosexuals, and that's all I can say regarding that. However, again, Water and Power must stop and reuse all its irrigation shit water back into a variety of ways, as opposed to costing the people of Los Angeles and the Angelinos all this wasted inabilities. And more specifically, like I said earlier, community members have been alienated, not just as civilians, but we find out they are meant to protect and serve almost to understand that we want to return to City Hall with fat mommy and her fat arms and a macaroni and a mackerel. So please tell mommy of the CD6, please open up City Hall so we can return to see all you morons and repeat the jackass cycle of keeping corruption out.
We'll go ahead and move on to the next caller, caller ending in 006, caller ending in 006. If you can please press *6 at this time to unmute your microphone. You have 2 minutes to speak on item number 6.
Yes. So of course, animals like myself want you humans take all of that fresh water from the mountain peaks and flush it into the ocean because of environmental lawsuits. Yeah, so now you're going to use water that starts in a toilet and you take a fucking shit in the toilet. And then it gets reprocessed. And then after that, you're going to recycle it. This time to drink it all over again. Yes. Goat Puppet fully supports this. It's because you humans deserve it. You have too many children, and you pollute too much, and you disrespect the land. You disrespect each other. You treat black people like slaves. You don't give them reparations. Over 200 years they've been waiting. You give them shitty fucking schools. You don't teach them a trade, so black men cannot have free trades. Kwame Brown. Look at it, Davis. See your failure. Finally, somebody spoke up. And it's good that you're all going to commit suicide by regulation as you poison your bodies, recycling dangerous water, chemicals, and all kinds of things. Meanwhile, your campaign donors are buying up all the land in the mountains where there are spring water wells, 100, 200 feet deep, of the most delicious, clean water, and that's what they bathe in, wash their clothes in, and give their children to drink. So the Jew and the campaign donor and the wealthy class will live to be well over 100 years old.
Please wrap up, 2 minutes.
On average. Well, you have a...
Mr. Chairman, that concludes the public comments on item number 6. Now, if your board wanted to put a motion on the table to accept it.
May I have a second to my motion to accept administrative item 6 on our motion today?
I'll second that.
Okay, seconded by Commissioner Villegas. With that, we will take a roll call vote. Commissioner Colosa.
Aye.
Commissioner Villegas.
Aye.
And aye for me. So that motion, and we'll pass it forthwith, Dr. Campos. So that item number 6 passes forthwith. Next, we have oral reports, and this is status of grant-funded programs and projects, all bureaus reporting. First among them, I have registered first was Engineering, Bureau of Engineering, Richard Louis, followed by Shirley Lau. Mr. Louis.
Mr. Chairman, Fernando Campos, Executive Officer, we also have 2 callers on the line for item number 7 for public.
Sure, absolutely.
We can take those first and then
yes, please.
Back to engineering. And then also, Mr. Chairman, for the Bureau of Engineering, we have Shirley Lau and Richard Louis. Richard going first, and then for the Bureau of Sanitation, we have Ms. Profit, and then Bureau of Street Services, we have Mr. Kevin Meany, and then we do have one additional presenter, and that is from the Bureau of Street Lighting, Mr. Jaime Madrigal. That's on the line as well.
Madrigal. Okay, wonderful. And yes, we will, sir, take those residents who like to give public comment.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Caller ending in 024, caller ending in 024. Please unmute your microphone by pressing *6. The board is now considering item number 7. You have 2 minutes to speak on this item.
Did you know that your agenda is not posted where it should be posted? How do you expect me to resolve my opinion and state into the record my testimony when there is no goddamn minutes or agenda posted for niggers like me to educate myself, Mr. Davis, in your little bow tie and your fat white shirt? You need to get your ass up to speed. No more of this pay-to-play bullshit. I want to be heard. I want to be respected. I want you to have the ultimate dignity for me. And yes, Mr. City Attorney, I do practice 42 U.S.C. 1983, but I also follow the color of law, section 18 U.S.C. 242 and 245, not to deprive me of any right to participate. So you make sure that fucking agenda's up there so I can finish reading and educating my black ass so I can fucking work. Other Otherwise, you racist piece of shit discriminate and you cause me emotional distress. I use my time, you fucking niggers.
That's 1 minute and 25 seconds. Mr. Chairman, I'll go ahead and move on to the next caller. Caller ending in 006. Caller ending in 006. Can you please unmute your microphone by pressing *6? You have 2 minutes to speak on item number 7. Last call for caller ending in 006. If you can please press *6. There you go. You have 2 minutes to speak on this item. Please go ahead. Caller ending in 006. Your microphone is unmuted. You have 2 minutes to speak on this item number 7. Last call.
Yeah. See, I told you I did it. Now go ahead. Now. Okay, thank you, human. Fucker. Watch that. Ow! You got me in too much trouble, puppet, today. Now you stop that. Okay. Now, the goat puppet yesterday was down on by the federal courthouse. So, well, they're getting ready to indict more of you assholes. Now, down the street, they have a parking garage at 100 John J. Iso Street. And a homeless criminal set a fire there. And then you did a street services cleanup. And what a shitty fucking job you guys did. First of all, you took the homeless criminal's belongings and directly deposited it in your Bureau of Sanitation truck without sitting it outside and giving them the required opportunity to take their stuff before you throw it all out. But 20 cops showed up, and then they took and arrested the guy. Caught on camera! Yes, we have the video. And the reason we have the video is because FBI agents want to know the question. What question? Well, they want to know how Jose Weezer's doing. Yes. Goat Puppet told him just fine. He's over there in his house, usually sitting there all day, eating cereal. He should eat better. Eat better, Jose. You're going to have your trial next year. And, of course, you're not going to rat anybody out like Mr. Davis and his bow tie, and Miss Galazzo, and, of course, Kevin James isn't going to come back and testify as a witness and produce all the thumb drives and all the downloads he took for the past 6 years. No.
Minutes.
Of course not. You're going to pay him off by making him the next city attorney. And then he will become your...
Mr. Chair, that clears out the desk or the queue for public comments on item number 7.
Thank you very much. We'll next have our report from the Bureau of Engineering, starting with Mr. Richard Louis.
Good morning. Thank you. My name is Richard Louis with the Bureau of Engineering, and I will be presenting today an oral report on the street improvement program and an update on our grant-funded projects. I believe you should have gotten a copy of a handout. I haven't been given the ability to share screen, so hopefully you do have the handout available for you to follow along.
Would you like access to share your screen?
If you would like, I'm able to do that.
Dr. Campos, is that possible, sir?
That's absolutely possible. Mr. Louis should get a request right now coming your way any second now. Once you get the co-host rights, you will see
I got it.
A bar at the bottom with a share screen. Perfect. Just do not hit the red button, please.
Okay, I'll try not to. Do you see my screen?
Yes. We do see it.
Great. Give me just a sec to reset here. Okay, great. Again, my name is Richard Louis with the Bureau of Engineering, and today I am presenting an oral report on the street improvement program and an update on our grant-funded projects. So this slide too shows our street improvement program and the various funding sources that we have to fund these street improvements. Some examples include grant funding, such as Active Transportation Program, Community Block Development Grant, Highway Safety Improvement Program, and many, many more. These grants are administered by various agencies with various reimbursement ratios. As you can see on the table here, those reimbursement ratios vary from 65% to 100% reimbursement, and some of the typical agencies as shown on the table that we work with include Caltrans and Metro. So again, this table here sort of gives a high-level summary of the various types of grants that we work with. In this next slide, we've provided a breakdown now of the number of street improvement projects and the associated grant funding. In total, the street improvement program has 125 active projects with a combined total grant amount of approximately $445 million and a combined total construction amount of approximately $338 million. We have also shown a slide that shows a pie chart with the status of our current projects. And this pie chart shows the breakdown by project phase. So that would be pre-design, design, bid and award, construction, and post-construction. And we've also listed in the pie chart the number and percentage of projects in that phase. You can see the largest number of projects currently are in design, but we do have projects in all phases of project delivery currently. In addition to just giving that high-level overview, we wanted to highlight a couple of projects for you in this oral report today. So the first project that we are highlighting is called the Community Development Block Grant, which we refer to as CDBG, Pedestrian Safety Improvement Phase 1 project. So this project includes scope to improve 5 intersections in Council District 1 with various street improvements such as sidewalk repairs, installing curb ramps, curb extensions, street lighting, traffic signals, and more. The construction award amount of this contract was approximately $830,000, and the project is 99% complete. And in the next few pages, you're going to see a few before and after pictures of various curb ramps that were installed. So in this picture here, on the left-hand side, you can see the before picture where the curb ramp and the sidewalk have been removed and demolished. And actually this picture shows the formwork that the contractor has set up as they prepare to pour the new curb ramp for this corner. And then on the right-hand side, you can see the after photo after the new curb ramp and sidewalk have been installed. Additionally, this is similar as the previous photo. I'm on slide 7. It shows a before picture with the existing curb ramp and sidewalk removed, and then an after photo once the new curb ramp and sidewalk have been installed. And our last photo for this project is again a before and after showing where the existing has been removed and the new improvements have been installed on this corner, showing that new curb ramp and sidewalk. The second project we've highlighted is from the Highway Safety Improvement Program, which we refer to as HSIP for short. The Cycle 6 Project 1, 2, and 4. This project includes scope to improve 14 different intersections throughout the city of Los Angeles, with street improvements including installing new or upgrading existing signals with left turn phasing, installation of curb ramps, and installation of street lighting. The construction award amount was approximately $4.5 million, and the project is only 15% through construction phase. Similar to the last project, we have some photos, but because the project is in the early stage of construction, we don't have the after photo yet. We have the before. So in this photo, it might be a bit difficult to see, but you can see some paint marks on the sidewalk and on the curb ramp. That is where a contractor has called for utility companies to mark the location of their utilities so that when they do the demolition, they don't break the utilities, or they know it's there, they can be careful around it. And then in this last slide on the presentation, you can see the existing condition of a curb ramp. And you can see it does not have the yellow bumps, those what we call detectable warning surfaces, and it does not meet ADA requirements. So this is the before picture. We, under this project, are going to demolish the non-compliant ADA curb ramp and will install a compliant ADA curb ramp once we have the after photo. So again, this is just showing you the before it has been upgraded. And that concludes my oral presentation today. Are there any questions?
Sure. Commissioner Villegas?
Thank you for your presentation. I really enjoyed it. And thanks for running us through all the different grants to do the sidewalk repair. Excuse me, is that what we call it? The sidewalk repair program. I don't have any questions. Thanks for showing us also the pictures. And there's a lot of detail, so I appreciate just getting a little bit more background on it. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Colosa?
Thank you, President Pro Tem Davis. I don't have any questions for Mr. Louie. I thought he did a great job with his report, and I think BOE in general has been doing a really great job at utilizing grant funding to make all these improvements to our streets and to our sidewalks in the city. So thank you.
Mr. Louie, I wanted to ask, in terms of the CDBG projects, are they council driven? Do the council office members and staff choose what we do in these various districts, or how do we arrive at these decisions for the projects?
For not just CDBG, but for all grants, there is an application process, and each application has the various. Each grant funding has various objectives it's trying to accomplish. So based on those objectives, we can then select areas in the city that can meet the objectives of the grant. At the time that the applications are applied for, we do communicate with the council office. I don't know specifically if the council office drove the application of that particular project, but we do communicate with the council office.
Well, I see that we really are implementing the curb ramps, and certainly they are of great benefit, certainly to seniors and to the disabled, but also for those who are moving furniture. Oftentimes you could be in the same block and move a desk from one block to the next, and to have that curb ramp there is very helpful in terms of that. And of course, when our disabled residents are walking across the street, and if they're seeing impaired, to have that curb cut there is really convenient, as opposed to having to step up and try to figure all of that out. So that is very good to see the city of Los Angeles begin to implement those. My other final question is the Highway Safety Improvement Program. Is that a state-funded program, or is that federally funded?
I believe that is federally funded.
Okay. Thank you. That's it for me. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And I think we have next Ms. Shirley Lau.
Yes, good morning. Dr. Compass, may I also have rights to share my screen?
You should have those rights, Shirley. I see you as co-host at this time. If you hover down to the bottom half of your screen on your Zoom screen, you should see a bar with share screen. There you go.
Okay, thank you so much.
Just do not hit the red button.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning.
This is Shirley Lau with the Bureau of Engineering Bridge Improvement Division. I'm here to provide a status of grants that my division implements. Here on the first screen, I have a list of the type of grants that are typically awarded to the bridge program. Predominantly, Federal Highway Bridge Program is the funding source for most of our bridge projects. We often get State Proposition 1B, which serves as a match for our Federal Highway Bridge Program funding, and that requires some seismic retrofit elements to be eligible. We also do receive some Metro funding, but with Prop C 25 local return. And most recently in the last year, we're working on State Route 710 mobility improvement projects, which I'll go into a little more in detail further into my presentation. And often we receive Measure M local return to supplement some of our bridge projects. So we have a total of 8 projects currently in design. Here, this slide, you see the first 4, and this is the next 4. These total about $205 million with the federal, state, or other types of funds providing $184 million out of that $205 million. And with our city local match at $21 million. We do have 4 projects listed here that are currently in construction, totaling $55 million, with the participation by the Fed, state, or other funds at $51 million, with local funds at $4 million. So as you can see in both the design and construction projects, we are really lucky to have a lot of the federal and state participating in our projects. I also wanted to highlight some of the completed projects we did in 2020, or we completed in 2020 and 2021. We finished 4 projects here listed: First Street Viaduct over Glendale Boulevard, the Glendale Hyperion Phase 1, which is also known as the Red Car pedestrian bridge, the North Atwater Bridge, and Riverside Drive Bridge over Zoo Drive. That totals $61.5 million. So I wanted to go into a little bit about the State Route 710 mobility improvement projects. Since I've been to the board one time for the Valley Boulevard, and then I will be coming to the board for the other 2 projects. So in 2018, Metro, working alongside with local agencies, identified and approved funding for a first round of mobility improvement projects in areas that are impacted by the 710 freeway extension not being built. And then in 2019, a second round of additional projects were added, of which these 3 corridors that you see on this map before you, those were funded. Valley Boulevard is in blue. It starts from the terminus of the 710 freeway and all the way to Soto Street near the LA County USC. And we've included here the section that we're working with LA County Public Works, which goes from the LA County USC all the way into LA Union Station. So a lot of collaboration with our agencies and stakeholders on this project. We've had the start of our public outreach efforts on this project. Our first community meeting was held on May 4th, and we will be having subsequent community meetings this fall. And the anticipated completion of this project approval and environmental document phase will be summer of 2022, where we were looking to have several alternatives being presented to the community. In red there, it's Huntington Drive from City of Alhambra all the way to Valley Boulevard, and that's one of the other mobility projects that my division is working on. And lastly, the corridor between there, which is in purple, is Eastern Avenue from Huntington Drive to Valley Boulevard. And so the Bureau of Engineering will be working on these 3 projects starting this year, and so we're looking forward to engaging the community and continuing our design work. Just a quick overview of Soto Street Bridge over Valley Boulevard and the Union Pacific Railroad. We're progressing to 60% completion on this bridge project, which widened the bridge and also provides a lot of sidewalk improvements and other bike facilities along this corridor. Anticipated completion next year, and we're working hard on trying to complete a lot of that civil work you see there before students come back in the fall at USC campus. And my last project to update you on is the Taylor Yard Bicycle and Pedestrian Bridge. We're at approximately 85% completion. We're looking to finish it later this summer. And as you can see on the left photo, the superstructure is up and is orange, painted orange. We're working on basically the connections to this bridge, which you see on the right. It's basically a bike ramp that will lead from the bridge all the way onto the surface street. So that concludes my presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Okay, we'll have Commissioner Caloza first question.
Thank you, President Pro Tem Davis. I don't have any questions for Ms. Lau. Saw a preview of her presentation today recently, but I appreciate her and her team's work on improving our bridges and for really tapping into those federal, state dollars. As we can see, we are able to leverage millions of dollars and having to only tap into a certain percentage of our local match. And so it's a huge benefit to all of us and our residents. So thank you, Ms. Lau, for all your work.
Thank you, Commissioner Caloza.
Thank you. Commissioner Villegas.
Thank you for your presentation, Ms. Lau. It was really comprehensive. Thanks for just all the background information as well. It's nice to see just some of these projects coming to fruition. Some of them I've just known just from living close to the areas. But I'm curious just to learn a little bit more about the 710 work that you guys will be doing. Right there. Just to see all that. I know there's so many improvements that have already been made just on that Huntington Drive, Mission Road, Soto Street connection. It's not too far from the Soto Street Bridge, but there's just always a tremendous amount of traffic through this area. So and I am, just supportive and wanted just to learn a little bit more because there's just a lot of traffic always going through there. But thank you for your report. I don't have any questions.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Okay, I have a question and an observation. In terms of mobility improvement projects, I see that we've engaged in those. What does the department see the mobility improvement projects as in terms of a benefit to the city? What are some of the outcomes of us implementing mobility improvement projects that we realize in the city of Los Angeles?
Thank you for that question, Commissioner. So we are looking into various types of improvements, obviously, that will engage pedestrian access, bike access, and also the increase in transit use along these corridors. So we're looking not only for improvements for vehicular, since there is definitely a lot of traffic along these corridors, and so what could be improved, but also paying attention to all those other modes of transportation. So it's a very holistic approach that we're trying to engage, also listening to the public, and that's why we have started our community outreach on Valley Boulevard, and we will be starting Huntington Drive's community outreach shortly, probably in the next month. We want to hear back from a lot of the users of these corridors and the residents and the business along these corridors on what are they looking for. I think access to a lot of the destinations is important, at least from the Valley Boulevard community meeting that we had, and also safety issues for where the railroad is, the railroad crossings. So those are very important things that the Bureau needs to look at and our team needs to look at and start preparing for possible solutions to those issues.
Sure, and it's my hope that as you do the review in your research, that one of the findings will hopefully be that as a result of us implementing mobility, that we will increase the support of the businesses and the small businesses in the community as well, because of what we have done in terms of opening up corridors of transportation and making it more pedestrian friendly, that people will want to participate more and interact and collaborate more with their small businesses. I hope that. My final is an observation. I'm always glad to see various prime contractors get work, but particularly I'm always glad to see those prime contractors that we have recognized for the work that they have done on business inclusion. Police construction was a contractor that we honored a year ago for their ability to hire minorities, obviously when they didn't have to. So I was very glad to see them being a part of this project. So we kind of tie the line in between some of the past performances of our prime contractors, and when we see their names again, we remember that. So I'm very glad to see companies like Police Construction, who not only have done great in terms of their work and construction, but have equally done well in terms of their inclusion of various underrepresented minorities. So I'm wanting to make sure that you do that.
Yes, thank you so much, Commissioner.
Thank you. Next, we have Street Services, Kevin Minnie. Hope I pronounced that right, Kevin.
Thank you, Commissioner. It was Kevin Min.
Man.
That's okay.
Thank you, sir.
Not a normal name.
We want to get it right.
Well, no problem. Thank you very much, Commissioner Dr. Campos. I'm Kevin Min with Street Services, to present about our grant program. So currently, our program has roughly about $170 million, covering about 46 projects. They're in various stages of implementation. About 8 are in pre-design, 16 or 18 are in design, and we've got about 14 in construction, and a handful in miscellaneous stages of grant administration to authorize the project. So those are projects that have been awarded over the past few years, but I wanted to focus a little bit on our success in our grant program over this past current fiscal year. Over the current fiscal year, we've received up to date roughly $130 million in new grant funds from various federal programs, state programs, local programs. And this is quite literally over 10 times more the kind of grant funds that we typically receive in the fiscal year. So we've been preparing to over the past couple of years and acquiring these funds and applying for them, and we've been very successful. I wanted to highlight a couple of the projects under this current new grant awards that I think might be of interest to the board. One of the biggest programs that we received funds for is under the Active Transportation Program. And this past cycle, we received over $90 million in Cycle 5 of the Active Transportation Program, which is an unprecedented amount. But our bureau and the city, I think, but it's not inclusive of everyone in the city. But for our bureau specifically, it's a very large amount. The funding in that particular program was concentrated on 3 major projects. One in Canoga Park, where we had received some planning grant monies a few years ago to develop an urban cooling strategy plan to reduce heat island effects and other kinds of, and to implement other kinds of greening type activities within the Canoga Park area. And so that project in ATP Cycle 5 netted about $38 million for the construction work, which is a very large amount for this kind of project. And so we're very excited about that project and getting that going. We'll be coming to the board probably in the next few months with a task force solicitation to start the design process. Another project we're on the cusp of getting approved through the CTC, through the ATP, is a Mission Mile Sepulveda project. This is about a 2-mile stretch along Sepulveda in District 7, where we are proposing a median running bicycle and pedestrian path. And that was a very close partnership with LADOT's Vision Zero program in developing a new safety project along that corridor. And that project came about with some funding that the council district had set aside for planning and community engagement, which resulted in a very good grant application under the ATP. And lastly, we received a project grant about a little less than a year ago under the Caltrans Sustainable Communities Planning Program to do some infrastructure planning around upcoming Olympic venues. And so that particular grant is aimed at evaluating and exploring infrastructure upgrades and requirements to ensure that there's sufficient pedestrian access and full access to all the various venues that will be coming to the city. This particular grant is going to focus on 4 venues in the downtown area, but we are developing a framework through this grant to evaluate other venues as they become known for the Olympic Games. So we'll be coming to the board with that particular task order probably in the next 2 or 3 weeks, and so just to give you a quick preview. We're very excited to get those grants going and moving forward. Actually, I would be amiss if I didn't mention that we do have some pending grant applications that could be awarded very soon. One is under the Regional Measure W program, which is the Broadway Manchester project, which I know Commissioner Villegas is very much aware of.
Yes.
We're keeping our fingers crossed. If it's done, it's roughly about $12 million. Provides some significant stormwater improvements in South LA and District 8. So with that, I'll open up for questions.
Wonderful. On the measure, you said Measure W, right? Yes.
Yes.
Would that include project labor agreement folk to help work on that project if we were lucky? I know we haven't gotten it yet, but is there a component like that that you know of? Are you not sure?
I'm not sure if Measure W requires that specific kind of agreement, but we are intending to incorporate that with the current grant that we have under the Active Transportation Program, which would likely be contracted out. And so perhaps under that contracting mechanism, we can work something out with that with labor agreements. But we also may build some of that product in-house with Streets LA staff. We're a little too early to determine that at this point.
Okay, wonderful. Let's hear from our commissioners. Commissioner Villegas.
Thank you, Kevin, Mr. Min, for your report. I'm glad that the Streets LA has been infused with new grant monies. I think it's just a testament to the change of leadership that we had with, Adele at the helm to bring in so much revenue to the, to the Bureau. And also, I really attribute it to just all the young staff that come in with a lot of energy and looking to do improvements. And it's just a change of the times that our streets are no longer viewed as just asphalt and paving, but they're a thorough way for a lot of our entertainment of walking and pedestrian access and cycling. And just being able to, enjoy the outdoors. And I think this pandemic really spotlighted that effort. I don't have, questions, just, keep up the good work for you and your staff. And hopefully by June 17th, we'll approve that grant for Broadway Manchester.
Great. Thank you, Commissioner Villegas. And also Commissioner Caloza.
Thank you, President Pro Tem Davis. Thank you for your report. Mr. Min, appreciate and echo comments of my colleagues. I think Streets LA sounds like they have a lot going on in terms of grant-funded programs, which is great. And I commend all of your efforts. I know it's not easy to apply for grants and to chase those dollars, but every little bit counts, especially in the past year when we had, financial crisis. We're in a better place now, but we didn't know that a year ago. So I think that's great. The only question I had for you was, did you have a report to share with us, kind of like the other bureaus have presentations? I know you've had them in the past, but I don't see anything included in the attachment, and I know you didn't share your screen, so just wanted to actually see all the good stuff that you're talking about written down, so we have it too for our records.
You can email that to the members. You can email that to the members, right, Mr.
Yes. What I can do, we do have a report that we typically submit to the City Street and Transportation Project Oversight Committee, which oversees kind of these grant type programs. And we can send that to all the commissioners through your schedulers, and we'll have a lot of information about each project and the amount of funding that's awarded for each of those.
Okay, Thank you, Mr. Manning. And yeah, I think you guys actually have a template for this specific progress report you do. If I remember correctly, you all actually submitted something to us ahead of time in past presentations. So if you can do that again for this time, that would be appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, we'll do. I will make sure it doesn't happen again.
Thank you, Commissioner Colosa. We will file that report. And now we will hear from the Bureau of Sanitation, Ms. Peru Prophet.
Thank you, Commissioners. Good morning. My name is Par Prophet from LA Sanitation and Environment. As requested by the board, LA San has prepared a comprehensive grants report for the period covering December 1st, 2020 through May 31st, 2021. And the report was sent to the board office last week, so I believe that you should have a copy for your reference. Currently, LA San manages a grant portfolio in the amount of $36.7 million, representing 34 executed grant agreements, as is shown in Attachment A of our report, the Semi-Annual Active Grants Summary. The details for each of those 34 active grants are in Attachment B, with quite a bit of detail in there for your reference. This total amount of $36.7 million represents one grant totaling $3.5 million for clean water programs, 3 grants totaling $2.5 million for environmental programs, which are listed as other on the summary, 21 grants totaling $14.2 million for solid resources programs, and 9 grants totaling $16.5 million for watershed protection programs, which include Propo projects. In Attachment C, LA San was awarded 5 grants for a total of $1.1 million during this reporting period, the 6 months. This includes an assortment of environmental projects such as illegal disposal site abatement for cleanup of illegal dumping sites, LA Industry Circular Textiles to promote recycling in the textile industry, Clean Cities Program to study and promote alternative fuels, and used oil and waste tire collection programs. LA San was denied 3 projects totaling $20.3 million during this reporting period. Those projects included 2 stormwater projects and a food rescue project. We currently have 8 pending applications totaling $14.4 million, as shown in Attachment E of the report. Tentatively, 3 of those applications have been awarded, but we're currently working on getting the grant agreements finalized. They include a VW Environmental Mitigation Trust grant to purchase electric garbage roll-off vehicles, the Crocker Street Brownfield Cleanup Project, and beverage container recycling. There are also 2 pending loan applications for over $500 million, as shown in Attachment F. These 2 applications are for the Donald C. Tillman Advanced Water Purification Facility project, which will provide for the design and construction of a 35 MGD water reclamation plant and its related components to replenish the groundwater basins and generate purified water. We're working with CAO closely to close the WIFIA loan. That's the Water Infrastructure Finance and Innovation Act loan for $190 million by the end of the year. This concludes my summary of LA San Semi-Annual Grants Report. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Great. In terms of water, it's a very interesting report in terms of what we have done in water. And we are known for the work that we are doing in wastewater conversion and that kind of thing. But I'm also interested to know, where are we in capturing other forms of water, from storm water to rainwater or any other kind of water that is another form of us working to transfer water into drinking water other than the wastewater form? And do we grant?
We have several stormwater projects that we actually do have grants for. We have the Westwood Neighborhood Greenway Project, the Vermont Avenue, what's the name of Vermont? Vermont is, it's a stormwater capture and Green Street Transit Project. So we've been actively developing stormwater projects to recycle our stormwater, a lot of green alley projects. We're actually working on, we have a lot of environmental projects for tree planting. We're working on pairing those projects with our stormwater capture projects to try to make a multi-dimensional grant applications so that we can really be affecting different aspects of the environment. So we're working on trying to get more grant funds for those projects. We have had several in the past. And we also have Measure W projects that are going to be kicking off. I don't actually include the Measure W projects in this report, and we're working on trying to get that transition, figuring out if we're going to ever include it in as a separate report or in this grant reporting.
Great, glad to hear that. I know it's a big job just managing water in a big city like Los Angeles, but we've gotten so much publicity on what we're doing, and rightfully so. I wanted to hear where we were with the other areas of water. Let's hear from our commissioners. Commissioner Vegas.
Hi, thank you. I appreciate your report. Thanks for going through. We don't get to hear about all these other grant programs, so it's interesting to hear how we just couple some of our funds to be able to get some of these important projects. I don't have any questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Colosa.
Thank you, President Pro Tem Davis. I don't have any questions for Ms. Profit. I just want to say that I appreciate your report, both your oral report and your written report. I think it's super organized how you have it listed out, and it's pretty clear in terms of giving us the opportunity to really go in the weeds into each project. So I appreciate how it's written, even from the awarded amount to the invoiced amount. So I personally appreciate that level of detail, and I know it takes a lot of work for you all to put this together. So thank you to you and your team.
All right, thank you.
Well, with that, Ms. Profit, thanks a million for a great report on what LA SAM is doing as it relates to the status of our grants. So thank you once again. We will have street lighting. Jamie, is it Matter?
Madrigal.
Okay, Madrigal. Okay,
yes.
Jamie Madrigal.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Hi, so this is Jaime Madrigal, and I will be talking about the status of the grant funded programs and projects on the behalf of Bureau of Street Lighting. The Bureau of Street Lighting currently has several community development block grant projects in the design and construction stage that will install new street lighting systems in the low to moderate income areas of the city that currently have no existing streetlights. The community development block grants funds all design and construction costs. The construction of the project is contingent on the majority of affected property owners agreeing to pay for the operation and maintenance of new street lighting system through the Proposition 218 balloting process. The following projects are current community development block grants projects within the Bureau of Street Lighting. So we have Elysian Valley Lighting Project Phase 6. This project is located in Council District 13. The project has been funded for $400,000 to build 26 new streetlights. This project was actually completed as of April of this year. Second, we have Elysian Valley Lighting Project Phase 7, located in Council District 13. Project was funded for $740,706. The funds will install 44 streetlights, and the construction phase has begun. Van Nuys Marston Lighting Improvement, CDBG. It's located in Council District 6. The project has been funded for $1.2 million to install 100 streetlights. February, the project was completed. Number 4, Panorama City CV6 Street Lighting Project, located in the Council District 6. Project has been funded for $806 to install 50 street lights. Proposition 218 has recently failed, so we outreached to the Council District to notify them to determine if they would like to reballot. Pacoima Tamarack Street Lighting, located in Council District 7. The project was funded for $221,900 to install 9 streetlights. We have recently started the design phase on that project. Project number 6, Vallejo Street Lighting Improvement CDBG. Project is located in Council District 6. The project is funded for $600,000 to install 31 streetlights. As of right now, the project is currently in the bid and award process to be contracted out. Number 7, North Hollywood Area 3 Street Lighting Project, located in Council District 2. The project has been funded for $840,706 to install 50 street lights. Proposition 218 has failed. Council District is considering to reballot. Council District is in the process of outreaching to the community to talk to them about the proposed street lighting system. Number 8, Sun Valley Street Lighting, located in Council District 6. The project has been funded for $1,040,706 to install 74 streetlights. We are waiting for Proposition 218 results. Number 9, Sun Valley Jerome Street Lighting CDBG, located in Council District 6. The project has been funded for $500,000. We have installed 26 streetlights, and February was the completion date for the construction. San Pedro Area 4 Street Lighting, located in Council District 15. The project has been funded for $761,966 to install 36 streetlights. We are recently started the design phase for that project. And lastly, number 11, Arleta Weiner Street Lighting, located in Council District 6. Project has been funded for $681,956 to install 32 streetlights. We have also recently started the design phase for that project. And that pretty much concludes the status of all CDBG projects within street lighting.
Okay, thank you very much. And we will hear now from our commissioners on any inquiry that they have. Commissioner Colosa, we'll start with you.
Thank you, President Pro Tem Davis. Thank you for your report. And I know how critical grant funding, is to BSL, since you're all, mostly special funded, and that those dollars are really hard to come by. So I appreciate you all expanding your grant portfolio and constantly applying for these opportunities. I will ask you the same question I asked Mr. Min, is if you have a report for us so we can actually see all this great work that you're doing in a report similar to what the other bureaus did. Will you be able to send us what you just read via email?
Sure, I could do that.
And it would be great, similar to what I mentioned to Mr. Min, if we could have that ahead of time so we could just see all this great work that you're all doing. But
Okay.
Thank you for your report.
Thank you. Commissioner Villegas.
Thank you, Mr. Madrigal. I don't have any questions. I appreciate the information that you shared with us. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so very much. And I think that ends for today the status of grant-funded programs and projects. And I want to thank all of the Bureau representatives who presented to that item. We'll file those reports. The final item for today is status update on major upcoming street improvement projects, Bureau of Street Services, Superintendent George Watson.
Yes, good afternoon, Dr. Davis.
Yes, sir.
Here, Mr. Watson, can you give me 1 second? Sorry for the interruption for Campus Executive Officer. Mr. Chair, we do have 2 callers on the line for item number 8 for public
Oh, I
comment.
see. Okay. With that, we'll take the remarks from our residents first. Thank you, Dr. Campos.
Dr. Campos, this is Ted. Do our speakers currently have time remaining in their 10-minute total allotment?
That's a great question, Mr. Jordan. Speaker ending in 024 has 35 seconds left, and speaker ending in 006 has full 2 minutes.
Okay, so the truth is, Mr. Stevens David Simon, JD, Executive Director, Department of Disability, is full of fucking shit, and so the rest of your fucking stupid bullshit. 500 West Temple Street, the sidewalk is up, buckled up where the bus stop's at. So who the fuck are you kidding, you fucking retards? All of you are fucking stupid. Even your fucking engineers, even your fucking departments, you're all fucking stupid. God bless America, and God damn it, fucking fix our sidewalks and streets, you dumb fucking niggers.
Time. We'll move on to the next caller. Caller ending in 006. Caller ending in 006. If you can please press star 6 to unmute your microphone. You have 2 minutes to speak on this item. Please go ahead.
Yes. So what an interesting thing. You're going to clean the sidewalks, huh? Well, let's start off with 400 South Vermont Avenue. Goat Puppet has been begging you, and he's been calling the illustrious council member, Mark Rudley Monkey, seeking his help. Of the largest encampment ever in front of a restaurant, the Sizzler, a favorite haut of Dr. Davis, who enjoys the unlimited salad bar. Once we can go back and eat. Yes. And it stretches 4th Street and Vermont all the way over. Blocks and blocks and blocks, blocking the entire sidewalk, 100% of it, into the streets. And at night, if you pass through, first you have to pay a gang member, or you have to do a U-turn and turn around and go back on Ventura Boulevard. What's the Bureau of Street Services doing? Are you fucking insane? Rats, vermin, lice, all come out of that encampment at night, and they crawl into the restaurant, into the sewer, and then back up into the cracks in the walls and the sidewalks. And then the county comes out and may fail them if they find bugs, rats and vermin inside the restaurant. It's your fault. You're doing it. And we would beg you today to go out today, and you hear the passion of the community. Clean up that goddamn sidewalk on 400 South Vermont Street, all the way over to Chateau Place and Westmoreland. Because that big, fat, fucking slob, racist pig from the 10th District. Well,
thank you very much.
Fat.
That's your time. Thank you so much. And now we'll have Superintendent George Watson give us a status update on major upcoming street improvement projects on item.
Okay, again, good afternoon, Dr. Davis, Commissioners, Bureau Representatives. My name is George Watson, Superintendent with Streets Renewal Division of Streets LA. This information has been provided to keep the public informed on the upcoming resurfacing projects and to minimize the impact on the community as well as delays. For additional information or concerns, you can contact our coordinating section for Streets Renewal Division at 213-847-3200. There are no major street projects scheduled in the Metro and Valley region during the week of June 13th through June 19th, 2021. However, we will provide an update on our 2021 pavement preservation program. During the week of June 13th through June 19th, 2021, the Metro and Valley region will complete 27 projects for a total of 15.86 lane miles. The press release were distributed, the notification has been issued, Streets LA has coordinated with the council office to assist with the outreach and to the stakeholders. We have coordinated with Los Angeles Department of Transportation for traffic control assistance. This information is also available on our Streets LA website, streetsla.lacity.org, using the Resurfacing Open Project icon. This concludes my report.
Okay, we've heard the report of Superintendent Watson. Let's hear from our commissioners if any feedback or observations. Commissioner Villegas.
I have no questions. Thank you for your report.
Thank you. Commissioner Caloza.
Thank you, President Pro Tem Davis. Thank you for your report, as always, Mr. Watson. Thank you for your patience, and I hope you have a great weekend.
Okay, you do as well.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Superintendent. We appreciate your report, and I guess we will file it, and that ends our presentation for today. Thank you, sir. We appreciate it. Dr. Campos, did we clear the desk?
Yes, you have.
Okay, with that, the meeting for Friday, June 11, 2021 is adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Everybody have a great weekend. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And Mr. Chair, management meeting canceled?
Oh, is it canceled?
Yes.
Okay, it is canceled. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Yeah, thank you.